Now, our next speaker, unfortunately, wasn't feeling very well. We know that in today's climate, we never know where people are going to be at or how people are going to be feeling. Now, she says she is getting better, which is great. But because she knew she wasn't feeling very well, she actually recorded her talk for us. So I'm going to introduce you to Jenny Knox. Jenny Knox was born. Jenny Knox has worn many, many hats. She's a registered nurse, a cabaret and jazz singer, a performer, a freelance writer, and a Rodan Fields skincare consultant. Let's just name a few of the hats that she has worn. With time, she came to realize that her passion and has dedicated her life to that passion and that dream. She decided to follow her dream to write and perform in her own one-woman cabaret about life behind the scenes of our healthcare system. As a way of building her following for her show, in 2020, when shows were a little bit unstable, she actually established the Giddy Aunts. And the Giddy Aunts have a dedicated Facebook page. So if you're interested to learn about the Giddy Aunts, you can actually follow the Giddy Aunts on Facebook. Just type in the Giddy Aunts AU. Now, the Giddy Aunts celebrate senior moments, grey hairs, memory lapses, and laughing till your padded undies fail you. Please prepare to laugh a lot and cry a little, and help me welcome Jenny to the Zoom stage. Woo!
I'm Jenny. I am the creator of the Giddy Aunts. But first, a little bit about me. My background is as a registered nurse and midwife, and a very caring one too, because I never ever blunted the needles before giving an injection, wherever it would be given, arm, thigh, buttock, abdomen. No one ever complained. They wouldn't, would they? I've also travelled. I've worked as a chambermaid and kitchen hand in the Austrian Alps. And I was a mini mum, which was a children's entertainer, singer, cabaret performer for a Swedish travel company in Rhodes, Greece. I've also done jazz singing courses. I've been voice trained. I've been in cabarets in between my main job, which was sticking needles in people, not necessarily, but nursing. Anyway, I've always had a passion to go into the arts, to be an entertainer. But when I was growing up, the advice was you need to have something to fall back on, and there weren't the opportunities. And it's still pretty hard, even now, for entertainers to make a living. Anyway, the long and short of it was I retired. So I got bored. I've also a cancer survivor, and I had a son with special needs. So I sort of had a bit of experience of life, as well as in front of the screens and behind the screens of healthcare. I guess I'm a woman with years of experience that's given me a look at the world around reality, and not as necessarily what's seen on the surface or supposedly socially acceptable, depending on which side you come from. So my thing is how things perhaps should look, but not just according to me. Maybe to just challenge people to look outside the square. Oh, that's as bad as moving forward, isn't it? Anyway, I've always loved writing and creating and performing. So after retirement and being totally bored, I decided I'd follow my lifelong passion on a more serious note, because you're never too old, are you? I hope not. I hope I can hang out there. Anyway, the Giddy Aunts were born. Why were the Giddy Aunts born? I think to help people to find their voice, to be able to challenge the status quo and be entertaining, so people can actually look at something maybe that they really feel inside or question, but they then hear someone talking and maybe it makes sense to them, may not, but it will be done through humour, which is fun. So we can get a laugh, make something light, because we need a lot of laughter in our lives and entertainment, which is what I'm about. So what does the Giddy Aunts look like? Well, she's usually a middle or an older age woman you might pass in the street. You're seemingly just like anyone else, except when you pass her, you realise that something's a little different about her, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And that's what I'm wanting with my Giddy Aunts. They're all very strong women. They're very different, and they're certainly quirky. And I think they're fun. So maybe I could describe them a little bit to you. Well, the very mature age one is Granny Smith. Now, Granny Smith looks like a very sweet little old lady with the grey bun and the dress and the pearls and the whole bit. But not everyone is as they appear, and you'll find that with her. And she is such a sweet old thing. In fact, she's here now, but you can't see her. She's over there. I don't know, she's knitting or something. She's in a rocking chair, bless her. Hi, Granny Smith, how are you? You are a dear old thing, aren't you? Yes. No, well, actually, she's not a dear old thing. I don't think she appreciated that either. But anyway, she's challenging the status quo of people that dare to look at someone of a certain age and think they don't know anything, they haven't had any experience, and they're past it. Well, Granny Smith challenges that whole image and that whole question of ageism. But she's fun and she's quirky. And, oh no, oh, Granny, did you have to light your pipe now and start smoking? Oh, I didn't tell you she smokes a pipe, did I? Oh, strange smell though. Doesn't smell like tobacco. I think we might leave it there. Just moving right along. Then we have Felicity Bubbles. Now, I had to make some notes because I forget them. It's got nothing to do with age, by the way. Okay, Tiffany Bubbles was Tiffany Bubbles, and she went through a change in life, mainly because of branding. Not that branding, no. No, when you try and brand a name. Well, unfortunately, I couldn't get that name, or she couldn't get that name. So she became Felicity Flick Bubbles. Yeah, Flick, okay. Anyway, she's an extremely wealthy influencer, aged in her 50s and conscious of growing old, poor thing. Now she's married with husband number 3, Richard, who she calls Little Dicky. Bless her heart. Isn't that so sweet? Not. She lives in a 3-storey bayside cottage in Melbourne and can't imagine life without lots of money. However, poor old Felicity, despite her wealth due to her husband's businesses and all that entitles her to the life that many couples would dream of, Felicity often feels lonely and disappointed that she doesn't have real friends. Despite her privilege and her public persona, she has low self-esteem, lacks confidence and can't identify life outside of her bubble. Anyway, she finds herself more than others. Oh, she fools herself more than others. Can't even read. Probably need my glasses. Both inside and outside her bubble. Her so-called friends laugh behind her back. But Flick puts on a brave front and suffers without much support from her husband, little Dickie. But the story continues. You have to wait for it because I haven't read it yet. But she's strong. She is, and she's fun, and she's quirky. Oh, and who else have I written about? Ooh. Oh, my goodness me. Number 3, Edwina Shambles. She's a ditzy, I tell you. She's a politician, actually, and she lives in the Canberra bubble. And, of course, she knows everything. She knows what's good for you. She distorts any questions being about her and how she's managed everything. Her famous comment is, it's easy. You just have to know how. And her aim in life is to be the first longest serving Prime Minister. Well, for goodness sakes, she's in her 60s, but no one else knows that, so don't let on, will you? No, she wouldn't want anyone to know. So I didn't say anything, okay? Now, what does she get frustrated with? Everyone who is not as perfect is everyone that is not her. So, you know, she's perfect. Well, she thinks she is. And that she can rule with the best intentions, hers and utterly hers. And she wants world domination. People are like that, aren't they? They get a bit carried away. We're not going there now. World domination and clones of her legalised. Can you imagine a world full of Edwina Shambles? Once you meet her, you'll think, no way. But she's interesting. She's unusual. She's fun. She's different. Really sad, isn't it? I can't find Dot Matrix. I'll tell you about Dot Matrix. I know her. She's quite a nice person, actually. I like Dot. She says things as they are. You know, she used to be a teacher that taught empathy. Yes, apparently she taught a few ministers in the last, well, prior to the last election. I think he sacked her when he didn't get re-elected to where he was, really. But I'm not going there, if you know what I mean. She's also an emphasiser. She emphasises things that give a lot of people grief, you know, that annoy us. I could say technology, but I probably won't. Anyway, she's an interesting lady. She stands up there with her microphone. She's a bit of an activist too, but she will talk about things that might really irk us, but we haven't got the confidence to say anything. We sort of keep it under skin thinking, oh, no, it's just me. I'm the only one annoyed by this. Well, you will find, listening to Dot Matrix, you'll realise, oh, it's not just me that's really peeved with all that. Yes, so that's Dot. Oh, and I forgot to mention about Granny, who's over there. Sorry, Granny. She has had an interesting life and she shares it. Even though she might be mature-aged, she's lived a very interesting life in a very different world. Somewhat, I think, a little less stressed than ours. There wasn't the internet back then. And there weren't really plastic bags either. You might have had 1 or 2 per household to put your 100% woolen jumpers into. But you didn't have things surrounded by plastic. Everything was disposable. That's why you didn't need to have a recycling bin, because you didn't need to recycle anything. It all got used and your rubbish got wrapped in, I don't know, newspaper, as you say. So they're the aunts, a little quirky, I would say. So in summary, the giddy aunts are strong, interesting, quirky, confident and funny women across the age and personality spectrum. And I'm not reading this, no, not at all. Yet they have similar qualities and values. And as I said, Granny Smith, the eldest, is wise, experienced in life, and does not like being categorised as an old lady. And Dot Matrix is someone who takes no nonsense, stands behind a lectern and says things as they are, and people recognise it and often feel similar. She's my hero. However, with Dot's approach is seriously funny, and her expressions say it all, what's behind the words. And actually, poor old Flick Bubbles is still discovering hers. They're all at different stages. And as for me, well, I write odes, and sometimes I read them. We're excited, aren't you? Yeah. Thanks. Anyway, I think that's me done. I'll just check my notes to make sure I've said everything. Oh, look. That's it. That's it from me. Just one quick word. Where do you see the giddy aunts? That's important, you know. The giddy aunts are presently on Facebook and Instagram, and soon on a YouTube channel near you, where there'll be lots of videos from the different aunts. So, you know, tune in early next year. It's all going to happen, I promise. They do too. And hopefully soon live performances and maybe a cabaret or two or live media. You just never know in this strange world. It is strange, isn't it? Yeah, you might think I am too. Well, that's okay. That's fine. I'm not hurt by that. So there you go. That's the giddy aunts for you. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the summit, and I'll be off. Ta-ta.
Wow. Please help me thank Jenny. Let's give her a really, really, really big hand.